Many a Slip. Introduced by Roy Plomley.
The teams. On my right, the ladies Eleanor Summerfield and Gillian Reynolds. On my left, the gentlemen Tim Rice and Lance Percival. I read out some pieces written by Ian Messiter. These pieces have mistakes in them, and the first player to spot a mistake presses a button. If it's a member of the ladies' team, it rings a bell. If it's a member of the gentlemen's team, you'll hear a buzzer. It's an electronic marvel. Scoring when we come to it, and the chairman's decision is final, even when he's wrong. First piece. I'll explain to those of you who don't know about Many a Slip what it's all about. Eleanor Summerfield.
There's something wrong with that.
I'll explain to those of you who don't know about Many a Slip.
You're going to explain it to everyone, aren't you? I mean, there's no holding you, is there?
No.
You're going to explain it to us
Yes.
all.
Yes.
So, you just need to say, I'm going to explain.
To those of you who don't know what it's all about, I think you're on a loser here, Eleanor.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So that's two to the gentleman. Let me explain the scoring. It's 1 mark for spotting a mistake and another for correcting it, and the marks are credited to your team. But if you press a button for a mistake when there isn't one, as Eleanor's just found out, then the marks go to the other side. That's 2 to the gentleman. I'll explain to those of you who don't know what it's all about, what it's all about. Otherwise, you'll never know what it's all about. If I make a mistake, as I'm often in the habit of doing, Gillian Reynolds.
Often in the habit, isn't that a sort of tautology? Aren't you repeating yourself unnecessarily?
Yes, I am. Often and in the habit. Yes,
Yeah.
tautology, 2 marks. For example, by saying that the longest word that can be written on the top row of letter keys on a standard English-speaking typewriter is the word Lance Percival.
English-speaking typewriter sounds wrong to me.
Why?
Well, because you type it, you don't speak it.
You mean the typewriter doesn't speak?
No.
No, 2 marks. Is the word typewriter. Yes, Gillian Reynolds.
You can't spell typewriter off the first rank of keys on a typewriter.
Can't we?
You can't. No.
Yes, we can. My technical advisor says we can, so that's 2 to the
Well, it's
gentleman.
worth trying. Yes.
Tim Rice.
I'm sure it's not the longest word that you can spell.
Well, have you got a longer one?
QWERTY-YOP.
Don't accept it.
It's a kind of Peruvian fish.
Thank you, yes. 2 to the ladies. So it's up to you to pick me up, metaphysically speaking. I might, Lance Percival.
Well, he wouldn't meet anybody called physically. Metaphorically, maybe.
Metaphorically, 2 marks. I might give you some information known to everyone so well that you feel that I must be mistaken, Gillian Reynolds.
No, I mean, any piece of information isn't known to everyone.
There aren't degrees of knowing it, are there? I mean, they either know it or they don't.
Yes, all right, don't flog it. You've got your 2 marks. For instance, the French call the English Channel La Manche. Tim Rice.
They do, don't they?
Yes, they do. They definitely do. Just 2 to the
Go,
ladies.
Tim.
This whole show is literally awash with tricks which may, Lance Percival.
You can't be literally awash, I feel.
Well, you could be literally awash. Happily, we're not at the moment. The ceiling isn't leaking. Yes, 2 marks. With tricks which may well catch both the team and even our listeners if they don't, Tim Rice.
Teams.
Teams, 2 marks. And even our listeners if they don't watch out. Those of you, Lance Percival.
I don't think listeners will watch out.
What would they do?
Well, they'd probably be driving and listening.
I'm watching out, I hope.
Yeah, so they'd listen out.
They'd listen out.
2 marks. Those of you who won't have any trouble is the one who have... Eleanor Summerfield.
You can't say those of you is.
No.
No, it's mixing your numbers, isn't it?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Yes. Those of you who... No. Those of you who won't have any trouble are those, you mean?
Yes, that's what I
Yes,
mean.
that's right. 2 marks. Who have paid attention and had the experience of a rupestral education. Yes, Lance Percival.
Well, I haven't had that experience, and Tim Rice doesn't look as if he's had that experience. Have you?
Never.
Never. No, I don't think he
No
has.
rupestral education? Neither of you?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Neither of us have had that.
Sorry. What does rupestral mean?
It means that Ian Messiter is cleverer than me.
Well, I'll give you a mark for that. Yes. What does... No ideas?
No.
Ladies, what does rupestral mean?
Educated in India, I suppose.
It means education growing on rocks, because rupestral means growing on or inhabiting rocks. You both knew that.
Yes,
Not
of course.
very likely, no. And the score at the end of the first round, 15 to the gentlemen, 10 to the ladies.
Not bad.
Now we're going Greek. One of the three men who laid down the philosophical foundations of our culture was Socrates, who is usually associated with Salonika, and was born Lance Percival.
No, he wasn't associated with Salonika. She'd been gone years. But I do realize there is a place, so I may be wrong. I just have to say that I think it's wrong, Salonika.
1 mark. Associated with where? Anybody?
Delphi?
Athens.
Crete.
Athens, yes, but yes, 1 to the ladies. Athens. And he was born somewhere about 1000 BC. He was unknown, Tim Rice.
I don't think it was as long ago as that.
How long ago? Give me an estimate.
250 BC?
Any advance on 250? Ladies.
500.
I'll accept that. 470. 2 marks to the ladies. Yes, Mr. Percival.
You said somewhere about. He was actually born on a particular date. Because you or Mr. Messiter don't know the actual date, it's not our fault. He was actually born on a certain date.
Do you know?
No, but he wouldn't
Then
have been
don't
born...
push your luck. He was unknown until he was, in the modern vernacular, discovered by... Who was that? Yes, Mr. Rice.
Well, that's a tautology, because obviously he was unknown until he was discovered.
No.
Not necessarily. Known to his family and friends, as Miss Reynolds says. Yes. No marks. Discovered by Plato. It was...
No, he wasn't discovered by Plato. Nor Salonika, for that matter.
Who was it, then? Why wasn't it Plato?
Because of age difference.
Ah, now go pursue that train of thought.
Somebody's much older than somebody else.
Yes, well, I'll
Therefore
give you
couldn't
that.
have been... Yes.
Socrates was 45 years older than Plato.
Right.
Yeah. 2 marks. It was Socrates' custom to debate in the marketplace, and especially in the gymnasia of the city. Only 3 Eleanor Summerfield.
You said in the gymnasia?
Yes,
No, that's wrong.
that's quite right.
Is it?
Yes,
It's schools, isn't it?
Ah.
yes, exactly.
Oh, really? Oh, you
You've
are.
talked to Miss Educated
Yes.
Reynolds next
Oh,
door to you.
shall.
2 to the gentleman.
Yes.
It was Socrates, yes. And especially the gymnasia of the city. Only 3 remain of the 25 books he wrote. Lance Percival.
I don't think he wrote 25 books.
How many-
Tablets, maybe.
How many did he write then?
I'm not absolutely sure without consulting with Tim Rice.
Mr.
Well,
Rice.
Lance, how would anybody know he wrote 25 if only 3 remain? I mean, he could have written 250 if only 3 are left.
Yes. Well, I'm going to give 2 to the ladies because he didn't write any books at all.
Oh. I knew it was tablets.
It's all that speaking in the marketplace.
Yes.
Previous to his oratorio appearances, he had made Gillian Reynolds.
His oratorio appearances. Don't you mean it's oratorical?
Oratorical, yes. Oratorical or oratoric or oratorian. Yes, indeed. 2 marks. He had made a reputation for himself for bravery as a soldier in the public wars. He's often Tim Rice.
That's not public. I've got to be careful here.
Yes.
Punic.
The Punic Wars did not break out until 264 BC, 2 to the ladies. But he did fight bravely in another war. Has anybody got it for 2 marks?
Trying to get his books published.
Peloponnesian. He's often been thought to be a self-tormenting acetate, but he was Lance Percival.
Could you say it again, please?
He's often been thought to be a self-tormenting acetate.
To have been, yes, to have been a self-taught...
Aesthete? Is that the word? An acetate's a thing that you
Acetates,
cut records
yes.
on.
Yes.
I mean, he cut records instead of writing books.
Exactly.
Ascetic.
Ascetic, 2 to the ladies. But he was the soul of merriment at a party and never went around with a forbidding face, as did his contemporary St. Francis Xavier. Because, Lance Percival.
St. Francis wasn't a contemporary.
No, he wasn't. Before or after?
Well, I hope after.
After, 2 marks. Because he knew that men could only be won by good company. His discourse was frequently on defining right from wrong. And he was a cheery exponent of bracated women. He was Eleanor Summerfield.
He was an exponent of brocaded women?
Yes.
No, he wasn't.
Why not?
Oh, I don't know how you can be an exponent of any kind of women, especially brocaded ones.
What does brocaded mean?
Something that women aren't.
Quite right. Would you like it to go on from there?
Not much, no.
Gentlemen, what does the brocaded mean?
Is it embroidered?
No, it's having feather-covered legs.
Now, that brings me back to a few women I know.
Yes.
No marks to anybody. And somebody missed a mark for, I said, defining right from wrong. It should be defining right and wrong. He was a most moral man, and it was this insistence on morality, Tim Rice.
Can you have, in fact, a degree of morality, either you're moral or not?
I think so. Yes, you can. I'm sure you can. A most moral man.
You think you can say that?
Yes. Yes. Right. Two to the ladies. And it was this insistence on morality in each and every argument that led him, Eleanor Summerfield.
Each and every is tautological.
So it is, 2 marks. That led him to die from too much wedlock. Eleanor Summerfield.
No, I think it was actually hemlock what
Yes.
he drunk.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Somebody slipped it to him. And at the end of that second round, the score is 26 to the ladies, 16 to the gentlemen. And now I'm handing over to our musical mistakes man at the piano, Steve Race.
Just a touch of calypso music, a breath of the East Indies, to celebrate Tim.
West Indies.
West Indies, yes, but to celebrate the return to our programme of Lance Percival over there. In the very first series, and in 1 or 2 of the subsequent later ones too, Tim, you just made it again.
Tautology, subsequent
Or later, yes, that's right. I played you the Westminster chimes and invited you to ring or buzz, as the case may be, when I made a deliberate mistake. Here are the hour chimes, or are they? Eleanor?
Doesn't it start bum, 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 bum?
No, it doesn't.
Well, that's what we did in the brownies.
So you get... Ben knows better. You've given 2 to the blokes. I'll start again. This is the hour chimes again. Lance, hello. It's right.
Down. Yes, I was just saying it's right.
And for the pleasure of saying that, you've given 2 back to the ladies again, haven't you? All right, da-da-da-dum, ba-ba-ba-bum, and then going on from there. Eleanor, it's right, you've given 2 to the ladies. And then the last quarter. Lance?
There's not that pause.
No. I was waiting for somebody to buzz and nobody did. All right, not that pause. You get 2 marks for your side. A minute or so ago, I mentioned the West Indies. Gillian?
Have you been really talking for a minute?
Well, a minute or so.
30 seconds.
Minute or so.
It seemed much shorter than a minute.
Oh, how lovely of you. Yes, I won't charge you anything for that. Nobody noticed that... Tim?
Well, I mentioned the West Indies, you mentioned the East Indies.
That's right. I didn't mention the West Indies, you did. So you get 2 marks. Good for you. I played a few bars of Harry Belladonna's Island in the Sun. Tim, you're very quick today.
I must be drunk. Harry Belafonte.
That would be nicer, yes, Island in the Sun. Another good tune of a similar kind is Yellow Bird. Eleanor?
Ba, 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 ba,
Yes,
ba.
I played. And
Yes.
you're quite right.
Thank you.
Yes, 2 marks to you. Talking of the Caribbean, Leonard Bernstein put, Lance.
Oh, yes, he might have talked about the Caribbean, I'm sorry.
Well, he did more. You've given 2 to the ladies
Yes.
because he did more than that. He put Puerto Rico on the Broadway map with the song from West Side Story that went... Now, Eleanor, start again. Yes, you got it. Very very, very tricky to sing, as anyone in the cast of West Side Story can tell you.
Yeah.
You got it right, yes, 2 marks. Let me take you back, musically speaking, to the West Indies, where there are steel drums in every oil band, and where... Dance.
Well, there are oil drums in every steel band.
Much more like it, that's right. 2 marks to you, and where the tropical sun beats down 24 hours a day. Eleanor?
Not all of the 24 hours, no.
Try 12, shall we?
Yes.
Yes, right, 2 marks to you.
You went off in the middle there somewhere.
Off from what into what?
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, you've got the marks,
Oh, my
really.
love.
I drifted off into Ireland in the Sun again.
Yeah.
Let me play you a once popular samba, Tico Tico.
That's not Chico Chico, is it?
Tico Tico, it is indeed.
Tico Tico?
Yes,
Oh, I
Tico
beg your
Tico it
pardon.
is. You give them 2
Yes,
to the men.
I stopped
Tico
you
Tico it is,
full
played in a film on the Hammond organ, remember, by Dame Ethel Smythe. But, Eleanor.
It's a great thought, but it never happened.
No. Can you remember who it was who played
Ethel
it?
Smart, was it?
No. It
No.
was, you got the mark. It was Ethel Smith. was her
Smith,
name,
yes.
Not Smythe. But I'm ending my music spot this week with a more romantic tune, You Belong to My Heart.
Just went wrong there on one note at the top.
Yeah,
One
I
dun,
did.
dun, dun.
2 marks, yes. Here are the very last 8 bars of that tune. Gillian,
Shouldn't you have started to go up a bit?
let's all sing it together, shall we? Can we? Thank you.
Thank you, Steve Raisin. At the end of his musical mistake spot, the score is 46 to the gentlemen, 45 to the ladies. If your memory goes back as far as 1933, before I was born, you may like... Eleanor Summerfield?
I'm sure you were born in 1932, weren't you, Roy, darling?
11:59 on the evening of December the 31st. Yes, 32, right. 2 marks. You may like to be reminded that it was the year in which the global airman, Wiley Mail, flew round the world in 2 days. Eleanor Summerfield.
I'm sure he wasn't called Wiley Mail.
What was he called?
I don't know.
Wiley Post. No
Oh.
marks. Yes, Lance Percival.
Well, the next bit you're getting to is 2 days. He couldn't have got round the world in 2 days.
How many then?
Well, it took David Niven 80. I don't know. Would you say 26?
I'd say 2 weeks.
Ladies, what do you think?
8 days.
2 to the ladies. It was 7 days, 18 hours and 49 minutes.
Marvellous.
A book called Marlborough, His Life and Times, was written by Ernest Hemingway. It was the year of the Gillian Reynolds.
Oh, no, he didn't. He didn't write Marlborough's Life and Times.
Who did then?
Somebody else.
Who?
Not Wiley Post, either.
No, you got your 1 mark. Who else? Anybody?
Was it Churchill?
Yes, it was, the other mark. It was the year of the first commercially produced deterrent. People had the opportunity, Lance Percival.
No, in 1933 I was born and I was not a deterrent. Might have been detergent,
It
though.
might indeed, for 2 marks. People had the opportunity to see Arabella, a cowboy film by that redoubtable Lance Percival.
Arabella was not a cowboy film.
What was it then?
It's an opera or something.
Yes, it is. Yes, by that redoubtable composter, that Eleanor Summerfield.
It sounds like he was a gardener. No, I think we're being composed.
Yes, I do. Yes, that 2 marks. That musical genius, Johann Strauss. It showed, among other things, Lance Percival.
No, it's the wrong Strauss.
Which one?
Richard.
Richard, yes, 2 marks. It showed, among other things, how the talent had rubbed off on him from his brother Oscar. Gillian Reynolds.
Oh, you just said from his brother Otto. No,
I said Oscar.
Oscar.
That's
Yes.
wrong.
I think that's wrong, yes.
Yes, what's wrong about it?
Well, he and Oscar weren't brothers.
Yes. And how can we tell that?
Because one was...
Tim
An only
Rice, pick
child.
up the other mark.
Didn't they win an Oscar for the music anyway?
They spelled their name differently.
Well done. That took some time, didn't it? 2 marks. There were some great films that year, including King Kong, played by Fay Ray. Tim Rice.
Fay Ray did not play King Kong.
What did she do then?
She played with King Kong.
She was the lady that King Kong fell in love with.
She did the screaming. Yeah.
Right.
Right. 2 marks. The Private Life of Henry VIII was produced... Lance
I
Percival.
think it was Private Lives of Henry VIII.
Just the Private Life,
Sorry.
true to the lady, was produced by Alexander Stringer with the Gillian Reynolds.
Alexander Corder.
2 marks. With the name part going to Frank Lawton. Gillian Reynolds.
Charles Lawton.
Charles Lawton. 2 marks. There was also the first pubic film showing Lance Percival.
Well, I didn't see it. I hope it's back to punic or public.
Public it should be for 2 marks. Public film showing of Noel Card's Lemonade. Lance Percival.
No, Noel Card never wrote a film about lemonade. Several shandies, but not lemonade.
What was his film?
Right, it's in the public domain. Eleanor Summerfield.
Cavalcade?
Cavalcade,
Cavalcade,
one
yes.
to each side, and at the end of that piece, the score is 74 to the gentleman, 68 to the lady. Now, in this next piece, every time I use an adjective, you must stop me and give me the antonym. All right? Horseshoe nails are a good example. Tim Rice,
Good is an adjective, and the antonym is bad.
2 marks. Bad example of Gillian Reynolds.
Horseshoe in that context could be described as an adjective. So don't you
This
mean
is true.
straight? It is a word describing nails.
All right, yes, I'll give you that. I'll give you 3 marks. It's one that Messiter didn't get, but you've got to give me the antonym of horseshoe.
Well, I would say straight.
Yes. As per...
Cow's head.
Straight.
I mean, seeing horseshoes like a U shape, wouldn't you say straight was the opposite of that?
If I give you 2
Carpenter's
marks
nails.
instead of 3, will you
Yes,
accept that?
yes.
Bad example of splendid work done in the country, Gillian Reynolds.
Splendid, appalling, dreadful.
Or wretched, or whatever, 2 marks. They were the last nails to be made by Gillian Reynolds.
First, nails.
First, 2 marks. To be made by simple machinery. Lance Percival.
Difficult machinery.
Or complicated machinery, 2 marks. They must be made from hard metal, that is, Tim Rice,
Soft metal.
2 marks. That is, at the same time, not Lance Percival,
At the dissimilar time.
2 marks, not brittle. Gillian Reynolds,
Strong.
come on, I want a better antonym than that.
Well, brittle breaks easily. Strong, durable. Durable.
Right, you've
Solid.
1 mark. Gentlemen,
Solid.
no, I don't like that either.
Tough. Resilient.
Supple's the one I was looking for. Until recent years, they were all carefully Eleanor Summerfield.
Not recent, but...
Distant.
Distance.
2 marks. They were all carefully forged by Lance Percival.
I'll go carefully.
Careful is an adverb.
Haphazardly.
Carefully is
An
an
adverb.
adverb, lad, 2 to the ladies.
Yes, I just wanted to check if I could do an
Thank
anthem.
you. Forged by a small section of Gillian Reynolds,
A large section.
of Gillian Reynolds, 2 marks, of skilled nail makers. Tim Rice,
Unskilled.
2 marks. These people were such clever chaps that, Tim Rice,
Thick.
2 marks, that they would sit at a separate table at the Gillian Reynolds,
They would sit at the same table.
Adjoining.
Adjoining
right
table.
joint table, 2 marks, at the nail maker's generous, Tim Rice,
Generous.
yes,
Mean.
mean, 2 marks, dinner, which was an annual one. Eleanor Summerfield,
Daily or biennial.
there is in fact no single antonym for annual, but you tried awfully hard, so you have your 2 marks. The common nail with, Tim Rice,
The rare or uncommon.
2 marks, with a large head, Tim Rice,
Small.
2 marks, will not do for a proper horseman, Tim Rice,
Improper, I guess.
improper horseman, 2 marks. And at the end of that piece, the score is 94 to the gentlemen, 85 to the ladies.
Very fair.
And that's as far as we can go. So on behalf of our 2 teams, Eleanor Summerfield and Gillian Reynolds, and Tim Rice and Lance Percival, and Steve Race, our musical mistakes man, I'll say goodbye.
Many a Slip was devised and written by Ian Messiter. The chairman was Roy Plomley, and the producer, Paul Mayhew-Archer.